Now, hundreds of wrongly convicted sub-postmasters will have their convictions quashed thanks to new landmark legislation being introduced later today.
Individuals will then be entitled to at least £600,000 in compensation to, it says here, rebuild their lives.
If that is indeed possible. Well, we're joined now by Lord James Arbuthnot. Lord Arbuthnot, you've campaigned for years for these sub-postmasters. Does it finally feel like justice is being served?
At last, we're getting there, yes. But still, the money's got to get into the pockets of these sub-postmasters. But we are on the right track, and it's really good news.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know how busy you are, and we've done, I said it before, we've done quite a lot on this station about the Horizon scandal, and I think quite rightly, Lord Arbuthnot, it's been described as probably the biggest, one of the biggest sort of miscarriages of justice ever. The detail, though, concerns me slightly. I'm not being negative. Today, this legislation will quash the convictions of people who were found guilty in a court of law for stealing money that they didn't steal because, of course, the computer system, the IT system, Horizon, within the post offices was proven to be untrustworthy. It doesn't, though, does it, my friend, do anything for the people who went to prison? I had a woman on my show in the evening last year who vividly talked to Lord Arbuthnot about the door shutting in a kid's home. She said, I knew I hadn't. I thought my life was over. People took their lives, people's reputational damage. And when I hear about this money, great that they're being quashed and that, they'll get 600 grand. This should have been done so much sooner in its entirety for everybody. Still, this hangs over people, and that is a shame. Well, I think it's a disgrace, national disgrace. Really do.
Yes. I mean, all I can say is yes. I've been working on this since 2009, and it's been intensely frustrating trying to persuade the courts, the politicians, the media to take it as seriously as at last it is now being taken. But I think we should celebrate the good news in today, that action is being taken, unprecedented action, to overturn hundreds of convictions, and that is good.
If it was that easy, my friend, why? I mean, we know the impact that amazing ITV drama had, but I mean, you're quite right. You have been fighting for this for 20 years, and yet within a stroke of a pen today, it seems, these can be quashed, and it says very little for successive governments who should have listened and done this sooner, doesn't it?
It does. It does. All the political parties have been to blame in this, and the governments have been treating the post office as a revered arm's-length organisation, when really the government and the post office and Fujitsu were colluding together to achieve the most appalling things for these sub-postmasters. So, yes, it should have happened years ago, which I was saying years ago.
Lord Arbuthnot, there will be some, very few people, I should imagine, who might criticise this blanket legislation because they claim there might be some people within those groups of sub-postmasters who may actually have been guilty of what they were accused and eventually have been convicted of. What do you say to that?
Well, I think that criticism can be met by the answer, those people who are guilty have already been very severely punished. I think the greater criticism is likely to come from those who are worried about the concern that Parliament is overturning judicial decisions. That is a difficulty, but I think it is something that we simply have to do because there are so many convictions that need to be overturned.
I think
that we've got to get through.
I think it's unprecedented, but I think it's actually, I think it's absolutely right in this instance, because judicially, and I'm not a legal person, those convictions were based on false facts. And if it takes the British government to say we're quashing that, then I think the judiciary has to accept that. Can I ask you more specifically about the post office? We saw this sort of extraordinary fight a few weeks ago between Henry Staunton, sacked by Kemi Badenoch, the business secretary, them slagging each other off and saying he's liar, she's this, she's that. He then appeared in front of a bunch of MPs, did Henry Staunton, and then threw the chief executive of the post office, Nick Reed, under a bus as well.
Yes, Nick Reed.
I would respectfully suggest that the government, I'd love your opinion on this, apart from bringing in this law today, people should actively start looking at the people that ran the post office. You can strip them of their CVs, but surely, Lord Arbuthnot, they are legally responsible as well. Should they not be being the ones that are pursued by our justice system for this incredible miscarriage of justice?
Yes, they should. And I think they will be. But this is, as the whole of this saga is, taking far too much time. But the public inquiry, which is led by a highly respected retired judge, is bringing out all these ghastly facts of the way that the post office behaved. And I think it will end in people being taken before the courts, and I think there will be some prison sentences following. I would hope so, because that is certainly what some of these people deserve.
And Lord Arbuthnot, just one final question. How quickly do you think this £600,000 will be paid out to these individuals?
Let's not forget that it's not a limit of 600,000. It's an automatic 600,000 if they want to accept that as an option. They could claim for more, but I think it should be payable within a matter of weeks of the passage of the legislation. That's one of the things that has been so wrong about all of this, the length of time it has all taken. But if they do accept the 600,000, then it'll be done and dusted very quickly indeed.
So anybody who was convicted wrongly because of the Horizon scandal, let's just nail this before we let you go, their conviction today will be quashed, some posthumously. Let's make that point. There are people who were accused of things and took their own lives. Can't get back a jail sentence, but that will be passed by the government, and very quickly they will all be able to claim this £600,000, which is a benchmark, but if they want to argue more. But I suspect there might be sort of legal fatigue, Lord Arbuthnot, where they go, I don't want to wait another 20 years. I'd like to just close a book, right? They'll take the money.
That might well be the case. And I don't think they should feel pressured into taking 600,000 if they've got a good case for demanding more. But some people will just want to put it behind them, and they should be enabled to do so.
Well, thank you so much, Lord Arbuthnot, for joining us this morning.